Alright, what's up everybody? I race on Zwift now? Some of you may already know this, but I am a very dedicated and loyal user of Trainer Road. But I've just recently discovered the joys of racing on Zwift.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And when I say joy, I mean max pain. Because that's what it is. It's just straight pain. But we're cyclists, and that's what we love. What can we do? So anyway, this is the Fresh Out of 24 race that took place on Loop-de-Loop, and this is the C category. I started racing last week, and I did a few races after I got a seed score of 100 something, and after racing a few races, they bumped me up to the low 400s, and then Zwift did their recalculation of their race scores, I think twice, and now I'm 382 at this very moment of the race. And 382 puts me firmly in the C category. But what I'm finding out is that the C category is actually pretty fast. Yeah, almost all my races up to this point have been pretty much full gas. My plan for this video is to recap this particular race, to ask you guys some questions because I'm still new to this, and especially for those of you who are more experienced in Zwift racing. Is there a nickname for Zwift racers? Maybe Zwifties? Kind of like how Taylor Swift fans are called Swifties, right? Anyway, please tell me what I did wrong or if I made a blatant mistake, and leave it down in the comments. I see all of those, and I pretty much respond to all of them because there are not that many. Wah wah. So this race starts out moderately hard. You'll see over the next minute or two that my average power is going to go up gradually. I am trying to stay in the draft and use my power-ups as optimally as possible. Actually, right as I was coming up to this hill, I was considering using my feather here, but decided not to. I'm sure there is an art to it that I don't know yet. And actually, I do have a question later regarding power-up. So as we're cresting the hill here, you'll see it starts to get really strung out. Whoever's on the front of the group is starting to hammer it, and I do a really poor job of anticipating this. And you'll see that it gets strung out. I'm probably not getting extremely good draft as I'm trying to hop through some of the riders. But yeah, it results in me probably having to do a little bit more power for the next couple minutes than I would have had to if I was already in the front of the group. Now, some of you guys watching might be curious as to what some of my numbers are. I am 72 kilograms currently, which is around 158 pounds. My FTP is somewhere in the low 270s or so, which puts me under 4 watts per kilogram.
Blown up!
In terms of my cadence, I probably average somewhere around 100 RPM for an entire race, whether it's indoor or outdoor, actually. And in terms of my heart rate, now I'm 41? Am I 41? Yeah, I'm 41 years old, but for whatever reason, my heart beats very fast. My max heart rate is 208. That's the highest I've ever seen it. Excuse me. 206 to 208 is pretty reliably my max heart rate. I think I hit 204 in this race. Alright, so I make contact with the group again, and I see a bit of a hill or a rise coming up, so I decide to use my feather here because I've been pushing pretty hard for the past couple minutes and I want to get a little bit of reprieve. And even though I reconned this course before the race, I actually wasn't sure exactly how many power-ups we would get and where we would get them, so either way, it felt right in the moment. Now, if I had a feather here, I definitely would have used it. Now that I'm watching it back, that would have been a better place. Moving on. Alright, we are about 9 minutes into the race. My average power is around 270 right now. In general, for a 40-ish minute race, personally I feel like anything above 260 average would be unsustainable, especially because my normalized power will probably be somewhere around 20 to 30 watts higher than my average. But yeah, I'm already kind of hurting. Now, this course loop-to-loop has a KOM section. It's about a 2-minute all-out effort, and we are doing 2 laps of this course, so I know that this KOM section is going to be coming up somewhat soon. I wasn't 100% sure that I would receive another power-up before the KOM section, but here we are getting one right here, and...
I got a draft instead of a feather. Maybe I'll use it now, try to recover a little before the KOM then.
Now, this is a question I have. Is this the correct use of this drafting boost? Or should I have waited for the KOM section and maybe on, I don't know, the 5%-ish part use the drafting boost? I'm not exactly sure which is better. Does anybody know? The bike that I'm currently on is the Zwift Carbon bike. I haven't purchased a new bike or anything like that. The Canyon Aeroad is available to purchase, which I do plan to purchase once I get 1.1 million drops. I am also, on all my other workout days, I'm just climbing mountains so that I could unlock the Tron bike eventually. That might take me maybe another month, maybe a little bit less than a month.
It's coming up.
But either way, once I get the Tron bike, I'll probably just be using that. But does anybody know how many watts can be saved in a 37-ish minute race, or 40-ish minute race, if I was riding a more aero bike? I was just pondering and wondering if it would make the difference of placing maybe 5th through 10th versus being top 5. I think it potentially could.
Everyone's got a feather except me.
I mean, of course it feels like that in the moment. And there are a couple guys I see that are using the drafting boost on this 7-ish% section, so that's kind of why I had the question before. But anyway, I do this first lap KOM with no power up, and it stings. Alright, as we're coming around this corner, I know I need to crest the KOM section with the front group if I want to stick with them, obviously. And yeah, sometimes you just gotta dig deep and motivate yourself, talk to yourself, do whatever you can.
Splitting up. Push over the top. Ah. Get back in the drive. Ah. Ah.
Yeah, I'm definitely hurting. So I crest the top of the climb. I get this pretty crucial drafting boost here. Now there is a gap in front of these couple guys that are in front of me, but I'm going to use them a little bit and just really dig deep. I got to dig a little bit more to catch that front group again because I know that they're going to be going back downhill to go on to the second lap. So as much as I was hurting, I knew that if I really digged deep and I made it to the front group, that there was a good chance that they would want to recover also. So I just busted a nut.
Make the front group. Come on. Ah! Oh my.
Alright, so I get to recover a tiny bit here. And this is going to be another tactical question. I know that there's a downhill coming up that you can super tuck. So I thought that maybe if I got on the front and I super tucked, that I would be able to recover and rest and not pedal for maybe 10 seconds.
All right, going into the downhill. Let's try this super tuck.
You'll see I try it on this lap here. And I actually also try it on the second lap too.
Maybe not. Get a little rest.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward a good amount here. That hard effort that we put in on that first KOM climb completely shattered the field. And we now have a group of about 16, 17 guys. And we have a gap of about 13 seconds on the group behind us. During the race, I was just monitoring that gap. It kind of bounced around from 10 seconds and then it ballooned up to 20 or 23 seconds later in the lap. And once we were coming back around for the second KOM climb, I was pretty certain that the group wasn't going to catch us. And I think the other guys in my group also realized that the chase group wouldn't catch us, so there was a little bit of a lull when there was about 5 kilometers left in the race. But up until that point, from 10 kilometers to go to 5 kilometers to go, our group still had a pretty decent pace going. So we just passed through an archway and I got a power-up. This one is the feather. I couldn't remember if there was 1 or 2 more power-ups before the next KOM climb, but I knew that the feather was probably going to be the one that I wanted. So I actually decided to save this. So this is my third question to you guys. Is this smart to do, or should I have just used this on a punchy part of the course and just risked getting the drafting boost instead of the feather on the archway before the KOM climb? In the moment during the race, I didn't want to get stuck with the drafting boost potentially for the KOM climb, so that's why I made the decision to just keep the feather.
Okay, my companion app isn't working. Can't see where I am on the course. But I did recon, so I kind of know where it's coming up, and I'll see the profile when it pops up. All right, we're coming into the loop. KOM's up there. Let's go. Use the featherweight on the steepest sections. Hopefully be able to push on the second half.
Alright, one more. You heard me say that I was using the featherweight because it was the steeper sections of the climb, which it was. But it seems like everyone is saving their featherweight for the second half of the climb. What do you think? Does it really matter? Or do you think it's always better to save it for later? Alright guys, it's about to get super animated. Yeah, get ready to watch me suffer.
Give me a drive. Damn it. Just make this groove. Come on.
Oh my goodness. I made it. So now our group that was 16 or 17 is now, I think, 10 or 11. And as I suspected, the group let up a little bit to recover a little bit for the finish. And that super tuck strategy that I tried to employ in lap 1, I tried again in lap 2, and you'll see.
Last kilometer.
Alright, unfortunately I don't have a power up to use here, so I just try to get in the draft, and I try to follow some wheels. It looks like we have about 7 of us, or 8 of us going to the line. I didn't want to go too early, I was definitely gassed at this point, and I just unleashed whatever I could for maybe about 15 seconds or so.
Damn it.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I think my excuse is my kids were sleeping upstairs and I didn't want to make loud grunts, so that came out. Anyway, that was a very hard race. Out of the 5 races I've done so far, that was definitely the hardest. My max heart rate, I don't think it hit 200 on the final sprint, which tells me that I am pretty fatigued from a lot of intensity. I think 5 intensity days that I did last week, which is not normal. Yeah, gotta recover from that. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe. I will probably post more Zwift races in the future. If there's nothing really interesting, I might just post the full race without any commentary or any editing. But if there's something interesting that comes up, I'll probably post it up and do another one of these types of videos. Definitely not a professional by any means on the video editing. Definitely not a professional on the bike. And definitely not a professional with Zwift Racing. So give me your thoughts. From what I observe, I think I can make it to 500 race score at some point. So I guess that'll be a goal of mine. Alright, thanks for watching. Hope you have a good day.